Now, if you're looking at taking your handstand push-ups to the next level, we can work on this straight body transition from a support position. So if I'm up in this support position here, now that could be on P-bars, it could be on boxes, it could even be on rings. We can rotate from that support position all the way around to the bottom, or if you want to call it the start of our handstand push-up, and then push all the way up into handstand. Now this can be looked at as a progression of the L-sit to shoulder stand. So if you have something like this already and can go round into this position, they could be used as a separate progression towards the full movement or just a progression of the L-sit to shoulder stand. So you could work that standalone. You could just work on that L-sit to shoulder stand in more of a straight body, elevating the hands higher and higher. If you are working on the full movement, it's good to make sure that you already have this as a prerequisite. So you can go from that L-sit to shoulder stand and then push up to handstand. Either on the concentric, so like that, or at least the eccentric, so lowering down, coming through to your L-sit. Another movement that really should be a prerequisite if you're going to start working the L-sit through to the handstand push-up is that you can do a crow comfortably up to handstand, because it's very similar to that shoulder stand position when you come through. If you don't have the crow to handstand, I'll put a link in the description to the crow to handstand tutorial. Now, if you are going to go straight into the full position, so straight body, you need to make sure that you have the clearance. So I don't quite need this one. See how I'm on the boxes with the yoga blocks? So that's just enough clearance so my toes don't touch the floor as I come through. Now I'm quite short. Obviously, if you're taller, you're going to need an even higher setup. So something like this with the double boxes works really well, or just high P-bars. And then you just need to work out how you're going to train this. So if you are going to do the handstand push-up version, you just need to work the transition. The handstand push-up is your standard deficit handstand push-up. So you could work the eccentric, you could be in the handstand position. So handstand position up on the box. And then I'm going to lower, do my eccentric, slow, eccentric handstand push-up to a deficit, holding the shoulder stand. Then you need to do your transition. Now the easiest transition would be the tuck through to your L-sit, and then you just slowly progress your transitions, either with just the eccentric or the concentric, and start in the L-sit position and come through. Then you can start to open out into your advanced tuck. So now when I go into advanced tuck, I need to take my knees away. Now when I take the knees away from the chest, I also, when I come forwards for the transition, now need to take my shoulders further, because my hips and my legs are going to be heavier, because the lever arm is going to stick out more in that direction. So advanced tuck position, now the shoulders need to come out further, hips and feet pull round more. And then basically it's then opening out to either open hip, so I could go into a half lay position, so bending the knees, keeping the hip open, or I could keep the legs straight and the hips closed, more of a pike position. Now your issue if you're going to do a pike through like this is you have to deal with what happens at the top with the hips. The hips are going to feel very heavy as they come up. As soon as you add the legs to it, you're more likely to feel like you're going to fall over. So a pike would be there, continuing on there. And see that bit? This bit is a lot of people will overbalance or underbalance because they'll get that point wrong where the hip opens, and they'll throw their hips down or go over and feel like they're going to fall. So I'd recommend you go somewhere in the middle. So have a slight bend in the knee, slight bend in the hip, and then try and transition round from there. Now you notice when I'm doing it, I'm using a little bit of momentum to help me get round. Now if you're going to use the momentum, you can carry that over and help with the push-up as well. If you're not quite ready to do the concentric and get all the way up, do the eccentric, but when you do the concentric, do a little bit of a push up as well. So you come through, and then a little bit of a push up. And then eventually you'll be able to push up higher and higher, depending on how strong your handstand push-up is. Now obviously your deficit handstand push-up needs to be strong for this progression. So either work those transitions by itself, advance your L-sit to shoulder stand, especially if you don't have a handstand push-up yet, but if you have the handstand push-up, add that on as well. And let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. I'll speak to you next time.